Alright, this is my Scalpel toy from the Revenge of the Fallen line, and I've done some modifications on him, several of them actually, that I think improve the figure, and most of them are very simple mods too, that anybody can do. First off, you'll probably recognize that the legs are a little more of a spidery stance. They're on his toes as opposed to being on the backs of his toes, like that. The figure comes out of box and he stands kind of like this. So you can do three subtle things to get him so that he stands a little more spiderly, like this. As well as these thighs turn around so the hook part's on top, and that makes him a little taller. This mod looks good that way as well. So the first thing I can point out here is that there are three little indentations on the black plastic right there that these gray posts set into. So I took a Dremel, a little cylindrical bit, and I deepened each of those indentations. So before, whereas the gray plastic part would probably go there, it went up to about here now. So that little bit subtle bit adds some, as well as on each of the posts, the pegs I get, the holes for the legs, I dremeled a little bit higher up into it. Just the edge or the lip, and on the back one I put towards the back, the middle I put straight out, and the front one I put so it aims towards the front. So you can see that there. So that way he gets a little wider of a stance, more spider-like. And then also on the legs themselves, on this piece, it's kind of square up here, and that impedes the movement. So you just take a little pocket knife and shave off a couple pieces of plastic and make it a little rounder. That helps as well. So each of those three things greatly improves the ability for his legs to go further up and get a little more of a 90-degree angle to him there. Works much better. As well as, I'm sure you guys want to see what it looks like with the legs, with the thighs tipped the opposite direction around. So I'll show you that too. Insert elevator music here. There. And that like pops out a little. I'm going to have to tighten that one a bit. And so now here you can see that he's a little taller. Before he was almost too tall. He was like trying to peek and reach something on the top of the shelf like that. But now because his legs give him a little bit more of a wider stance, they go a little further down and still give him a good pose, which I like a lot better. Another modification was his arms. These two clear plastic arms right here. Before, the hook part went out like this, kind of scooped away from him. And I thought that looked kind of retarded. So I made it so his paws, his hands, whatever, scoop in, more like hands, and you can do little digging and whatnot. So basically, I took them apart from this hinge point right here. They just pop off and swap them around. However, in order for them to close up all the way, in order for him to transform, you do have to cut off a little piece of the plastic that's there. Right now, it has a little angle for it to fold into, so just cut in halfway there and halfway here and square it off. So you know it's square. It goes to right here on the inside of it. Before it was at an angle, actually this angle, so it prevented it from bending in this way. So just shave off that part, doesn't hurt the figure any, and then it'll fold in that way, and that way they fold up all the way in for transforming into microscope mode. And now the last mods that I did, one that's very, very easy. His eyes, the contacts, I guess, if you will, or glasses, they come set in this direction. It's not a huge difference, a huge deal, but you can see the little tiny ball, I guess, or a little emphasis there. I prefer the way they look this direction. Because now he's got more of a furrowed eyebrow type of thing there, and it looks almost, because of that ball there, it looks like his eyelids are squinting. He's so mad he's squinting angry. I think that works a little better, and actually mine fits slightly better when he's transformed to microscope mode too because of that. One of the other ones was right here, his neck. would bend up to there. That's it. It would board forward, and then it would stop right there, because there was plastic on the white part, on the edges right there, kind of on the frame, if you will, on the sides right there, and it would not bend any further. So I shaved those. Now it bends just a little further because there's a hinge point there, whereas the white part hinges onto the whole body. So it doesn't give you a lot, but it is enough to make a subtle difference. So when he's standing, he's not quite looking down as much. Now you can make him so he's looking a little bit up, give him a better posture. And the very last mod I did was his antennae. Many of you guys, well, most of you probably have already taken them out and turned them around, because existing they curve towards the back. When you transform into microscope mode, it's easier to have them curved down. So I have them curved forwards like that. You can even see there. However, there was a little bump on the back part here that when I flip it up, it would kind of want to pop out because it's an easy piece to come out. So just shave off that a little bit with pocket knife or Dremel and round it off, and snap it back in, and it goes much easier. Up, down, as opposed to popping out and you have to push it back in. So that little bit of shaving right there will help you when you're transforming later. All these are very subtle things. Be very careful with the plastic. Obviously, it's very fragile. But all those little subtle things add up, and I believe greatly improve the figure. So I'm happier with it myself. Go ahead and you guys give it a shot yourself. Let me know what you think, if you prefer something different or if you find something else that I missed. Anyway, there you go. The operation was a success.